From the Aran Islands, I head to Galway, city of the tribes. I really like Galway. It's known for its lively art scene. And just walking the streets, one can find buskers of various styles. To capture this art scene, I interviewed Diarmuid de Faoite, a scientist turned actor.
I came to Galway as soon as I finished school to go to university here, and I started doing science, and was doing science for a few years, and then all of a sudden somebody dropped out of a theatre show that they were doing in college, and somebody asked me, "Diarmuid, would you mind jumping in and saving the day?" So I did, and I became addicted immediately, and the science started going downhill and the theatre started going uphill, and it's been kind of that way ever since, really, and that's how I became an actor, I suppose. I also believe that theatre at its best can be a therapeutic experience, both for the practitioner and the audience, and I mean that's what I like to aim for. The fact that it's live, of course, it makes it so much more special than any other medium, you know. And I suppose for that reason, I'm an actor. I think one of the reasons that there's a big theatre scene in Galway too is that there isn't the same degree of separation between the classes in Galway as you get in other places. And because of that, theatre isn't as exclusive as it is in other places. I think part of that comes from the fact that Galway is a town that grew into a city as opposed to a really old city. With the old cities, you tend to get very established families and very established social groupings. And so it's not just an exclusive club for the upper middle classes. People actually see theatre on the street here. Galway is a university town, so you get a lot of influx of people from all over Ireland and all over Europe and all over the world coming here. It's a big tourist town, so you get a huge amount of a huge influx of tourists. So you've got tourists in the summer, you've got students in the winter. That creates its own economy and also creates its own culture as well, you know. So it becomes quite a bohemian kind of a place. And I think the other thing with Galway is that the money in Galway tends to be spent in Galway. So people make a living here and they spend their money here. They go to gigs, they go to theatre. The percentage, for example, they reckon there's about 15% of the population in Galway would go to theatre. Now that's compared to a national average of 4%. Galway is definitely, it's a mongrel city. It's full of mongrels because we're all from everywhere. There are local people, and as the locals say, "How's it going, old stock?" And that's what they mean is old stock, you're old stock. And that expression comes from the fact that there's so much new stock in Galway that, you know. Well, with the river then cutting through the city, it also geologically splits the county in two. West of the river is granite. Granite is a hard rock. It's non-porous. The land is bog. It's wet. Rains a lot. Connemara people, they speak their own language, Irish. They're hard people. They live on a hard rock. They're a very different tribe to those in the east who live on limestone, which is porous. Water seeps through it all the time. You get underground streams, underground rivers. So they're very different tribes. East Galway is flat. Connemara is mountainous and full of little tiny sea inlets, you know. Very different people. And they meet right smack bang in Galway city. And this again brings two very different cultures together, or subcultures in Ireland together, you know. What I love about Galway is the water and the river, and the fact that you have this torrent. There's a huge body of fresh water just above the city called Lough Corrib, and Lough Mask then in Mayo flows into this. And that's about maybe a 60-70 mile body of water heading north from Galway. And that comes into a narrow mouth coming into the city. and there's a weir, and then this torrent of water, thousands and thousands of gallons, just crashes through the city. And then the city, within a few hundred yards, you have a lake, followed by a torrent of water rushing through the city, followed immediately by this torrent bursting open into the bay, into Galway Bay, which is absolutely beautiful, and you're looking across at the burn and the whole lot. And I believe that the actual energy of that water flowing through the city gives Galway some of its madness. And there's a lot of ions in the air coming up off that water. I think it makes people act in a funny way. And that's what I love about Galway. And Galway is water. People describe it as liquid city. Now, that probably refers to the amount of drink that's drank here, but I think it also refers to the water. It obviously has a very strong maritime heritage. So you've got the fresh water, you've got the sea water, you've got that ancient link with the sea and with other cultures. So Galway has always been a more open a place than other parts of Ireland, I think, you know. We've had, for hundreds of years, connections with Spain. I mean, people in Galway would have traded with Spain and North Africa before they would have traded with Dublin, you know, and that's where they looked. And again, that gives the city a certain flavour, I think, you know. Galway is also known as the graveyard of ambition, because a lot of artists come to Galway and succumb to the drink, because you can go out every night of the week in Galway and have a wonderful time. Every night. It's very tempting. It's very tempting. The culture is there, the atmosphere is there. Nobody will bat an eyelid if you're drunk 7 nights a week. They'll just go, right, he's drunk 7 nights a week, and it's up to yourself then to mind your liver.